There it is. Hello everybody, welcome to another video review by me, Kozan. Today we are watching a master scrim on Horizon. It's the same guys as the previous video if you just watched that one. What we're looking at is a quad or a triple tank setup. Once more we have a Zarya, a Rodok and a Reinhardt combined together with a Junkrat in this case, not a Reaper, and a Moira and Lucio. So very standard to... I got a tablet working for myself here, so I'm trying to get a little bit better with the drawing here. I'm hoping it will be a little bit better. Actually, I can actually write stuff on the screen now a little bit nicer without it, you know, looking like a 4-year-old wrote it. Well, it still kind of looks like a 4-year-old's, but who cares? All right. Anyway, what we're looking at from the blue team right here is the triple tank with the Junkrat. And in the red corner we have a composition really kind of made to be a little bit versatile. They're set up to, you know, with the Zenyatta, the Ana, the Soldier, they can poke from far away. You don't want to, you don't want to poke against this composition at all. You do not want to stay in long range of sight for a long time, and you do not want to give them a way to get to just keep shooting you from a longer range. So you want to get into tight corners, tight places where you can break the line of sight and then try to force the fight there. This of course is very doable on something like Horizon first point, where there is the first point right there that you need to capture as the first team of course. And then you have to force the enemy team to get on top of you. So there's multiple ways people actually walk on this map. They sometimes go straight through here and then onto the point as we see a whole lot, or they go to the right, well actually inside here of course, and then they go underneath most of the time. Now let's talk about this enemy composition a little bit more. I talked about not wanting to poke against them. They're also a little bit counter divey, right, with the Rodok and the Orisa. Well, Orisa a little bit less so, but the Junkrat is there, the Rodok is there to kind of punish enemy divers. Also the Zenyatta of course can just kind of discord any diving tanks. So they're kind of safe against that. The only thing they're not really safe against, of course, is that they have a very vulnerable backline. The Ana and the Zen aren't that greatest at peeling for each other. They can't really keep that many people away from each other. The Roto can kind of help out with a hook, but that's only one hook, right? And if he already used this hook beforehand, then it's unavailable. So yeah, they have kind of a, you know, they have a lot of vulnerable backline characters that can be dove upon. Also, they are really, you know, they're going to be decent against triple or quad tank as well. The Junkrat is great against triple tank. Soldier also a big source of damage, just continuously blowing out that damage as long as he's not too close to the enemy team or is forced into a weird position where he has to be too close to the enemy team and then just can easily be taken targeted down. And then the Zenyatta of course as well with the discord there is gonna get massive ult charge, and really if the enemy team is kind of running a composition like this, you do not want to lose the first engagement, just because it's gonna feed massive amount of ultimate charge with this amount of tanks. Right, that's a lot of HP to get ultimate charge of. So yeah, also of course they have a shield, so poking, again, another reason not to poke against this composition. Alright, now let's see, oh, by the way, I almost forgot, we have a Junkrat trap over here. This is a very, very common place for a Junkrat to put his traps on this map. Probably the most used location actually, if you think about it, just because people often go around here, because that's one of the ways they see the most, right? And if you just put it over here, people will be looking towards the enemy if you're up there on the high ground and being poked at. So the Rhino will have to shoot like this and then start moving like that. Pretty much everyone else as well. So yeah, basically as soon as you identify there is an enemy Junkrat on this point and you're moving in, you kind of already want to just pre-shoot the floor here, this area basically. Just in case, even if somebody else is walking in front of you, you can already just kind of shoot this place as a Zarya, as a Rodok, as a Lucio even, right? You can just kind of shoot that place and then you'll kill the trap hopefully before you actually walk over it. Even if you don't have any eyes on the ground, just blindly shoot it. Okay. Let's go into this. I want to talk about one more thing actually. The Roadhog instead of a Diva, it's going to be a little bit more tricky for the blue team to really get through here without taking too much damage and using too much of their resources. Diva, of course, with Matrix, it's really great. It recharges quickly, and you inside here you can recharge it before you actually go on to the next one. You don't have to use as much Moira spray. Your Zarya bubbles, well, you know, you only have 2. The Reinhardt shield is very likely to break over in this entire path that you'll have to go through. So Diva kind of helps out with that as well. Instead, we see the Roadhog. Yeah, it can work. I mean, both are valid. Personally, I like Diva a little bit more for the sustain with the Matrix. Matrix is just really good. So unfortunately here we see the Junkrat actually getting trapped. Moira having to use a lot of spray. And this not being communicated correctly to the rest of the team. And the Reinhardt actually moving way too quickly onto the point without the rest of the team. Not using any time inside this room really to regain their abilities or their cooldowns again. So a good way if you're playing Reinhardt, you can just keep track of the Lucio aura, right? You need to see the little line of the Lucio aura still in front of you. If you go over that line, you're going too far away. Because you can't split up with this composition. You need to stay grouped up. There's no other way around it, really. It's gonna give your Moira a lot more ult charge. And you know, as soon as she used all the ult charge, she will want to use Coalescence because she can't heal you in any way. And if you guys are too spread out, she might not have Coalescence because you guys were too spread out and couldn't heal everybody at the same time. Now here we see a small mistake by the Moira actually. Instead of, she did get hooked. That wasn't really the mistake. That was more so because the team wasn't all there. And spread out too much already, you know, everybody was already on the point and the Moira wasn't too nearby them, so maybe that was a little bit of a mistake from her there, but or him, of course. Anyway, instead of shading towards the team again, we see the Moira shading more backwards in this case, and this is basically already a lost fight, just because first of all, the Junkrat already, this is a really good thing to point out here, their Junkrat already having his ult, already using his ult at this point, and your Junkrat only having 23%. This is purely because they do have the shield over here blocking any junk spam. They were all behind it, so your junk really couldn't do any damage. Walking over there, and their Junkrat was just free to spam you guys as long as you guys were walking over there. And now even as you guys are walking in here, one by one, continuing this damage. But yeah, now people on the points are low. The Moira didn't get bubbled as she was getting hooked. Small things, but you know, it could have helped out. Then only a couple of people walk backwards, and now you're just all spread out, and you're very, very easy to be picked off. Unfortunately, the one advantage you guys did get in this push was the Moira ultimate, of course, charging up very, very quickly, and their support ultimates aren't gonna charm up that quickly, of course, because they don't have as much HP to heal. But yeah, unfortunately, you guys used that one a little bit too late, and then yeah, that was basically the one advantage you guys had over there. Now look at the red team, their ult economy right now as well. Junk already used his ultimate. Soldier is about to have his ultimate. Orisa almost has ultimate. They almost have Trends as well. And in comparison, your Lucio is at 40%. You have only almost 50% on Zarya. 60 on the Reinhardt. Sorry, 60 on the Reinhardt, so that's pretty good. But it's still not as good as the enemy team, of course. And yeah, look at this. Their Junkrat is actually on its way to get 2 tires, while your Junkrat is only going to have 1 tire in this composition. Now, let me actually see my notes here, whether I'm forgetting anything. Aware of junk spam, reshoot. Okay, yeah, so here you guys are a little bit too poking again, a bit on, well, let me see actually. Your Zarya is pretty good on not poking. Your Junkrat goes to poke. He's just shooting the barrier. It's not going to break the barriers. That was useless poke. Your Rhino goes to poke now with his shield. Again, useless poke. He actually gets blown backwards, and also the Junkrat gets blown away because of that. He gets blown forward, and now you guys are kind of in a position where he has to push more forward or go backwards, and then you have to wait a really long time, just because he wanted to poke to get a little bit of extra damage, or just see what's going on. I'm not sure. Like he could have poked out real quick and shot a fire strike in there, but already that's a little bit dangerous. Like that's the only thing he probably could have gotten away with. But overstaying is welcome there, just ever so slightly. So yeah, now you guys go in. Your Rodok is still not here. Now your Rodok is on his way there, and now you guys back up. Okay. So I'm really happy you guys didn't walk further there. Alright. Now I hear you guys actually going to the right side, or you make the call to go to the right side. Getting halted there. Now here's where you guys go wrong, in my opinion. You guys try to push up on here into this room. This room is not very restricted. Like it feels constricted and it looks very constricted, but it still has this entire opening over here, and you know, this gap over here, and then basically anything that's on this high ground, this entire high ground area there, can shoot into this room, right? So it has a very long line of sight. If you guys had gone underneath, first of all, you would have had the mega. You again have a little moment over here where you can charge up your cooldowns again, you know, where you're a little bit safe. And if they do try to come in there to contest you guys, you're in your element, right? You're close up range, and you can just swing the hammer. You can shoot them in the face with the Junkrat and the shotgun from Rodok. You don't have as much damage, which is why you want to target the enemies down as properly as you can. And this area right here kind of allows that for that. Instead, you go upwards, where there's still a lot of line of sight on you, of course, a long line of sight, and actually we'll see the soldier rotating around very wisely on this high ground to be as far away from you as possible and still be able to shoot you the entire way through. So as you guys go in, unfortunately, the shatter, I'm not sure even like if you did hit it, right? There's I think the Orisa already used her protection. The Rodok might have been hit, and the Junkrat too, but like there's still the Transcendence going on there, so you probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of kills there. At the same time, they're gonna use the tire here in the Transcendence, so you can't really punish the Junkrat for staying stationary here. Do you guys actually kill the tire? No, he just explodes it prematurely, or maybe on like targets that the soldier already killed. And look at this, right? The soldier all the way over here, completely safe, uncontested, continuously just shooting into your entire composition without a threat. Also this Anna, like nothing can touch her, right? You don't have anything that can really contest this, and they are just having a field day. And again, if you went over here through the middle, you would have been able to kind of fight here, use this constricted area over here, push into the point, and then made it a lot more difficult for the Anna and the soldier, because either they'll have to drop down over here, and then again they're already right in your face, or they would have to drop down there, and then, you know, maybe there would have been some over there or some over there, and then you can just decide, right, where to hard commit, and you know, as a team, just completely stomp one side and then go to the other side, or at least get enough picks to then later on with spawn advantage come back in and completely wreck them. Alright, how far in are we? 15 minutes. Okay, this is, I know this is a little bit longer because there's actually the second point as well on this one. Where are we at? 40, 50, okay. Am I forgetting anything? Straight upwards, shatter, blah blah blah. Okay, so now already that Junkrat 40%, and this is the first tire, right, that you're about to have. Also, like your composition right now, you have kind of a semi-dive, semi-slow comp. Your Zarya is going to have a really rough time getting a lot of value right now. She's not going to be able to go in with the same speed as the rest of your dive tanks. I don't mind it as much that you guys still have the Junkrat here. Also, your Moira is gonna have a rough time to kind of follow up on your dive tanks as they jump in. We will actually see the dive tanks jump in here. Yeah, let's just see how this unfolds actually. Like in a proper match, this should not work basically because of the kind of the desynchronization of what your team is trying to do here, or at least like the way they'll have to move and the speed at which they can get there, and the amount of sustain that you kind of have. So a small mistake, first of all, that we see here is that your Winston drops his bubble when he was still bubbled by the Zarya. It's already broken now, so it's not that big a deal, but usually you want to wait until the Zarya bubble runs out and then pop your Winston bubble. It gives you a little bit more value, gives the Zarya a little bit more charge, but look at how difficult it is for your Zarya here to get anything done. Also, another thing, your Junkrat only now using his tires. You know, it would have been a little bit better if you first had your Junkrat gotten into this position, and then you guys wait for the tire to be used, maybe goes underneath, and then you guys jump in. So there will be people actually that would have to look backwards, right, to try and contest the tire. Then as you jump in, there's less people contesting your dive tanks, and you have a bigger chance of actually succeeding here. There's Soldier again, just rotating away, right, very easily for him to just move towards there to safety. Tire getting taken down, so at this point, even, yeah. So it's a very tricky situation, honestly. What you're trying to do, you're making it a lot more difficult for yourself. Let me see what else. Yeah, something to flank on point would be really good here. I just heard somebody call that. Like, Desire kind of would have been the same thing, right? Forcing other people to look away or to turn around to deal with it. And then as you jump in, there's less people to contest your dive. But again, right, you're kind of handicapped already because you have the Zarya that really has difficulty to kind of synchronize up with the rest of the team. And it's just kind of stuck on the low ground, as we saw. Just kind of there, not really getting a lot of value. She does have Grav right now, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's worth it. Like I would have switched her probably, maybe even if she did have ult, because you only have one more attack, and then you know you got to go in with a desynchronized force. Oh well, we're not gonna go too deeply into that. But like the push before that, it wasn't even 100% sure. Let's see how much ultimate charge the Zarya actually did have before you guys went in. So 82. Yeah, Zarya should be able to get a Grav for the next fight, right? But like, if she gets instantly picked off, it's still very iffy, right? I don't know. I would have liked to see her just be switched sooner. But all right. So let's see this engagement right now. You go in with speed. Your Winston jumps in here. You're right on top of the Junkrat, I think. Let me see, actually. Yeah, that's another big thing that I wanted to point out. The Soldier, again, all the way over there. This time, actually, he didn't start the setup here, which is kind of an opportunity you guys missed out on. The D.Va and the Winston probably could have just jumped him and eliminated that Soldier very easily. But unfortunately, you guys didn't see this positional mistake from the Soldier, or a little bit of laziness. And afterwards, here, again, comboing the Grav with the sound barrier, people were already a little bit low, so don't mind it that much in this case. And then we see a little bit of a mistake here from the Winston. Instead of targeting down the power booster, you gotta target down his power booster. This is a whole lot of damage, and you guys are ignoring it actually the entire fight, and that alone should have lost you this fight, in my opinion. But alright, so first of all, the trance is forced there. The Winston jumps up here for a small jump, so he doesn't have a jump anymore to escape with either. And then just tries to get a bunch of cleave here. Which is kind of valid. I would have, you know... I don't think, you know, there's a couple of things he could have done. He could have just walked in there. He could have targeted down the power booster, or he could have just jumped on the soldier so he would actually be contested in here. Instead, you guys do actually manage to get a really big pick. First of all, your Junkrat manages to get the tire, which allows it for an opening here. A really big one, of course, or else you guys would have just lost again. And then the Diva actually manages to pick him off over here, going for him as he's stationary still and managing to get him really quickly. Your monkey dies because he doesn't have a jump out anymore, because he just did the small jump over here. As he's still, you know, in line of sight of that soldier over there. But basically this is where the enemy team really messes up. This Lucio as well, I'm not sure what Lucio's doing in this case. He knows Soldier is using his visor, and Lucio is trying to go over here. So that's a big, you know, that's kind of a mistake here. He could have tried to go with the team still, or he could have tried to go underneath, but I'm not sure where he was trying to go to. But anyway, so this hog actually, now you guys are targeting the hog, so that's really good. This hog already should have retreated down on the low ground where the Orisa is as well. For some reason he stuck around here too long. He got blown upwards and actually got his hook on the roof. And now instead of, yeah, because of this big boop over towards here, maybe he could have maneuvered himself in the air to fall down through here, but unfortunately he isn't able to do that. Uses his heal too late and then actually gets punished. Then there's a big mistake from your side, where your Moira actually goes on the opposite side of the rest of your team. Look at how low these guys are. Look at the HP of these guys, and they really needed this Moira to be there. Basically, Moira is going after the soldier for some reason, going on a mad flank here. Not very necessary. At the same time as well, another mistake. The Junkrat probably could have stayed up here on the high ground, just kept lobbing grenades over the Orisa shield instead of, this is a really great, insanely good spot for Junkrat, this corner right here, and just lob grenades into the back. They're gonna clump up over here in the back. There's a little bit of a dip area right there where the stairs go downwards, so if you keep lobbing the grenades, they're just gonna clump up over here in this space. And this is the space where the support will always be, right? They can't be on top of their tanks, so they're gonna be backed up. They can't be on this side, because then they'll be open for the flank for over there. So this is where they'll be. So if you have your Junkrat up here, he can just lob grenades into there and have an easy time making the life of the supports really difficult. Instead, he jumped down and actually exposes himself unnecessarily to line of enemy fire. And the Zenyatta actually gets him for that. This is a big bubble for Yozari actually, managing to save the Diva just in time. Unfortunately, their Zen was really smart with his movements, using the Orisa barrier over here, walking over there. He's 1 HP right now. Moira trying to get him. And yeah, I'm not sure how they messed this up. I think it's because of this Orisa not using her barrier and not retreating a little bit more towards here. She should have probably tried to use her barrier on this corner, like so. Straight afterwards, instead we see her do this. And actually losing the Zenyatta because of that. Also not getting a good halt on that Diva, unfortunately. And your Diva getting both these supports here. At the same time, the Lucio came back from spawn. Fortunately for you, with the Moira forcing the overtime right here. And the Diva kind of carrying this this play right here by killing both supports. So very well done by the Diva. And targeting down. Moira going full DPS mode. That's fine. You're at a massive numbers advantage right there. And basically what helped you there to win that point was the spawn advantage. The enemy really messing up. They lost the fight where they were 4 versus, what was it, 3 or 2? I think it was 2. Really, with the mini Diva, it was only 2, right? So that was just kind of targeting from the enemy team messing up, and yeah. then your your main tank also went Tracer here to get back to the first point sooner. You kind of gotta, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would have liked the main tank to stay Tracer for the second point. Maybe a switch would have been better. That being said, you did just kill the D.Va though, so she's going to be way out of position. This is alright. This is kind of viable to try and get a quick push going. But I don't think you're all here either. Let me see actually if you're all here. Like, I can see 5 people. So who are we missing? We see Tracer over there. Is it Zarya we're missing? Oh, where's Zarya? So yeah, you're going in because you say you have the numbers advantage, but you don't have Zarya with you. So actually you're at an equal amount of numbers because that Zarya isn't there yet. Then you guys go in and like, yeah, if you guys had waited for your Zarya though, the D.Va would have been respawned. So that's why I don't really like this kind of greedy power play, or you know, speed push your guys are trying to do. Again, this is kind of where the semi-dive, semi-slow comp is really backfiring on you guys. We can see over here their Genji is going to get mad value just because the Zarya is really difficult to kind of play with the dive comp. Moira is kind of doable, especially with Coalescence, of course, but D.Va is going in solo, getting shut down very quickly here. The Trace is trying to fire at the back line, not using her pulse bomb in time, really. And then I want to keep an eye out on this Genji, right? He's targeting down the Junkrat. The Junkrat's still spamming down. It's alright. I don't like the Junkrat amazingly on this point. It's a little bit difficult for him to get value here because it's such an open area. He can kind of spam this area, but like there's no real place where they'll just keep bulking up. They might bulk up over here, but you can't shoot the mines in a good way where well, maybe you can bounce them on here and then they'll bounce that way, and then you want to get them over there, but it's very hard to do. Maybe you can get this area, but that's not where the enemy is. So it's very hard for an offensive Junkrat here to get value. And actually look at this. Like the Genji now going after the Junkrat, getting a very easy kill there. The Zarya trying to follow him, chasing him. But unfortunately, like it's one dash and then the Genji is just gone. And the Zarya cannot contest that Genji at all. And Genji just manages to get a health back there. And then very easily for the enemy team, they can collapse on the rest of your team. At the front, D.Va already down. Yeah. So right here, I would not care for a pulse bomb. I would rather have a main tank be a main tank instead of having a pulse bomb. Maybe that's just me. What I do like is how you guys plan to use the Riptire in this case. It's very smart, and you actually time it correctly this time. Like I would have kind of advised it in the first go, at the first point where you also had the Riptire. Unfortunately, then it was a little bit mistimed. In this case, you guys do time it pretty nicely. The only real pain I have with it was that you guys decided to use it all the way in spawn, and then you don't have that much time to kind of do jukes and maneuvers with the tire. So it would have been a little bit easier because you're kind of forced to have straight lines. You don't have that much time to run with the tire. We can actually see that as it plays out. So you do actually switch from Moira to Zen, which is really good. You can't follow up on your dive comp as much with the Moira, and of course, if you do want to run dive, then Discord is just it's one of the best tools you really have. But unfortunately, you're still running with the Zarya. I don't think Zarya would get a lot of value here again, even with Grav, right? She was 50% the first push, and already, like, if she maybe was like 80% first push, you could have considered keeping her, but she wasn't. So you probably just wanted to change. But then again, you guys were rushing in because of the D.Va pick, so it's kind of a situation. But alright. Then That was your choice, really. Okay, so we're gonna see the enemy mess up massively here as well. Again, the tire is coming in from this angle right here. We see the tire. The enemy now, actually, your Zarya being able to defend the Zen here, and Zen pushing back the Winston together with the rest of the team. It's over there. Important to note, you have their enemy Zen and Soldier. The enemy Zen even has Transcendence up. And their Winston is right here at the entrance still. Now this is kind of lucky for you guys how this all pans out. Their Winston, I think, is called backwards to come and help deal with the Tracer. At the same time, your tire just drives in here and the enemy team just seems completely unaware of the tire. It comes in straight. The Zen forgets to use his trance for the tire, so he dies. The Winston just jumped backwards right on top of where the tire is. And I'm not sure if this is planned out. If it is, congratulations. That was top class. Trying to use the Tracer to get everybody on top of the Tracer and then coming in with the tire at the same time. I don't think it was, though. It kind of feels like it was a little bit lucky. Especially with how the enemy team reacted to it very poorly. And this does open up the game, actually, for you guys managing to take it from here. So yeah, now you guys are just kind of targeting, right? That was something I was really missing out on the first push as well. Let me go back to it. I don't think you guys targeted anything. And let me turn up the volume as well, and let's just purely listen to targeting, right?
We could go straight in. They're down a diva right now.
Go straight in, down a diva. Drop point. Targets, no targets.
Both supports into a corner.
Both supports into a corner. Not mentioning which corner specifically, but yeah. And yeah, just look at where everybody is, right? So you have, I think Lucio, alright, yeah, okay. So you had Diva and Tracer kind of on this side. They're trying to collapse onto something over here. They're both kind of preoccupied with different targets though, unfortunately, already there. Lucio is preoccupied with the Diva. The Genji and, well, the Zarya and Junkrat are trying to deal with the Genji. And ultimately failing. The only real targeting here that's going on is your Moira and Diva trying to take down the Soldier in his ult. And Zarya and Junkrat both trying to deal with the Genji that's going in there. And then ultimately failing because the Zarya doesn't have a way to jump after the Genji as soon as he kills the Junkrat. Alright, so yeah, there was no targeting there, and maybe if you guys did target there, you might have already won, but or at least you would have had a bigger chance, right? Anyway, going back to this, where you guys actually managed to take the point here. There, Diva, so this is actually where you guys managed to do a lot more targeting. There's Zen only now coming in with trends. Monkey dies with 3% until his ult, so that's very unfortunate for him. Kind of jumping away from the Zen ult, maybe thinking he would get his ultimate for sure, but you guys target him down, so very good, well done. And if you guys hadn't targeted down that Monkey, actually, you might have still lost it here, just because of the Monkey ult, stalling it out even further. And then, you know, desynchronizing everybody again.
That's it, keep on calling, keep on calling. Genji.
Monkey pulse, he's dead.
Diva? Nice. Tracer's on the high ground.
So yeah, and this is where you guys take it.
Tracer, get her off.
Anna.
Ultimately. 2 CP, right? Am I right? Well, there it is. Okay. So yeah, that's where you guys took it. Round 2 complete. Very well done. You know, here and there, you know, it wasn't the greatest, obviously, and it was it was the enemy making a little bit of an unfortunate mistake there and not paying attention to the tire, but it worked out for you guys. And yeah, let me think about some general advice for this one. Basically, try to plan out your movements a little bit better, especially on the first point when you're trying to do the triple tank attack. Try to give yourself a little bit more pause for when you're recharging your abilities and when you're regrouping. little bit impatient there, especially from the Reinhardt. Try to keep your compositions a little bit more together and try to be clear on what your composition is trying to do, right? Either you're playing dive or you're playing slow comp. Dive, obviously, better on this map because of the high ground over here. Let me see. There it is, my pen. So yeah, if they ever have like a... Well, they didn't have a soldier in this case, but they ever have a longer ranged character that can kind of just contest this area. For them, it would obviously kind of be near this area and using this high ground over there. And then for you to actually push all the way through here would be very difficult because you have this open area ready to be poked at, obviously. Or anywhere else, really. And just being poked away from uncontested people there is very dangerous. So yeah. Going dive over here probably would have been my choice. And what else? What else? Ultimate use. I think that was really the biggest thing, right? Your positioning with the quad tanks and the movements of your quad tanks, and then not being sure what type of composition you guys wanted to run. Don't be iffy to throw away 50% ult charge. Just do it if it benefits the composition you're trying to run. It's way more valuable to start farming up the other ultimates you're gonna have on those heroes than it would be to run a suboptimal composition. And trying to keep the ultimate charge you already gained. So yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this match. I hope it helps, guys, and yeah, I'm gonna go now. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. And yeah, bye bye.